Hello, 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 everyone. Yeah, there it is. Okay, I was a little concerned. So, hi, everybody. Today, I want to do a little bit of an unbagging. First of all, I forgot it came in this thing. I was like, I ain't never seen a thing that looked like this in my life. And I was like, oh, I'll unlock the whole thing on camera, or I'll open it all. Then I was like, well, let me make sure, because I ain't trying to embarrass myself now. Because, I couldn't see who it was coming from. And I just thought about this. I ordered this a long time ago. And I just thought about this today. And I haven't thought about it in a while. And I was like, I wonder if it's going to come today. And then it came today. So let's get into it. Because at first I thought it was what I thought it was. But then I remembered all the other stuff that it's supposed to come with. And I'm like, it's going to have to be a little bigger than that if I'm supposed to get everything that I'm supposed to get, ain't it? But I guess not. But we'll see. We'll dig into it and see. I had a really, really weird experience this morning. And I've only had sleep paralysis like 3 times in my life, maybe. And last night, I got it. And as soon as I started to get it, like I heard someone's voice, like talking, like in my brain, basically. Like they were right in my ear. And I could hear them like clear as day. And I was like, what the freak is going on here? And then I opened my eyes. Also, so, excuse me, for a little over the past year, I'll have these dreams where I wake up in my room, but it's different. And a lot of times there'll be like writing on the walls. There'll be a message. Um, and so I had a dream about a week ago where I woke up in my room, but it was a different room. So I knew that I was dreaming because I'm not in that room right now. And I forced myself to get up, and like first I had to force my eyes open in the dream, and then I noticed that it wasn't the room I'm in, and then I had to force myself to get up and start walking. Oh, I'm gonna have to use scissors, but they're so abrasive. It's fine. These are tough. Uh, yep. I'll pick that up now. 1 second. There we go. And so I noticed that um, I was in a different room. So I forced my eyes open. I forced myself to get out of bed. It was weird. It was like I was awake. I wasn't supposed to be. So I had to dodge some folks. And I found out that there was something weird going on in this space. And so I fixed it fairly easily. um, and it was interesting. But last night, so after the weird sleep paralysis thing, I could still hear somebody talking to me. I don't remember what she was saying, but I was like a little confused because it didn't really make sense to me. Like I could understand her, but it sounded like she was just talking about something that, like, I don't even remember what she was talking about, but in the moment. And so I opened my eyes and my door was open. Like, so the viewpoint was literally what it is in real life, but my door was open. And that's the only thing that was different. But I was just like, oh, like the dog must have pushed my door open or somebody opened my door or something. And then I was like, man, I'm in here trying to sleep. I don't want him to come in here and mess with me. And then he came in here and started messing with me. But then, like, I ignored him and I went back to sleep. And that sleep paralysis feeling came again. And the voice started again. And it's like I woke up in this room several times, but I didn't realize that I was dreaming, and because it looked too similar. I didn't realize I was dreaming any of those times, so I never got up and did anything. Um, and then I woke up, and I was like, oh snap, that was a dream. Those were dreams. That was like And it's like that. If y'all never had sleep paralysis, I don't know how to describe it, but it's really weird. This ain't gonna work. Oh, come on now, come now.
And I thought that these was gonna arrive in a box because they said it'd be a box. So I'm up here expecting a box. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. But yeah, I think I had another dream about something though. I don't remember. I saw one of my friends, I think, in a dream again last night. So this is the second night he's popped up in my dreams in a row. And I don't think I've ever dreamed about him before. I don't think so. Maybe I have. I don't. If I have, I don't recall. But there we go.
Okay. So now let's bring this over here. I had to do a little bit of maneuvering. Hold up. Is this only one of them? Is this only one of them? Question mark. There's supposed to be two.
Did they send? Did they send them separately? That's so weird. That's so weird. I guess they did. And like the thing up top was ripped, so I think like I can't even see where it came from. That's why I was like, hold up. Cause I'm expecting something big. I guess it is only one of them.
So I've been seeing a bunch of ads for dice lately, and so they had this thing where aw, you're a natural 20. That's so nerd for you're cool. I don't even know which set this is. So I saw this ad and I talked about it a while ago, and it was like it said something. What did it say? What did it say, Patrick? I don't remember. I don't remember. Oh yeah, it was like there was the good side and then there was the bad side, and the good side was like I'm the one that's responsible for all your natural 20s, and the bad side is the one that's responsible for your natural ones, and when you're rolling dice, a 20. Okay. A 20 is good. A 20 is like something miraculous and amazing and wonderful happens, and a 1 is like the opposite. And then the bad side was like, oh, I bet that the good side told you that I'm responsible for all of your natural ones. And it's true. But there, like, it needs to be a balance, right? If there's good, there has to be evil. And so he was like, and then so there was like, choose your side, the good side or the bad side. Or there was this middle path or this middle option where you can do both. And I chose both because just because I know and understand that, like bad and darkness are a thing that is necessary to balance the light, don't mean I'm gonna go out there and just start being dark. Hello, I ain't gotta do that. It will take care of itself. But I also don't have to discredit that. And when it was like let the universe decide when you do both. So this is the set that I just got. You can see it's primarily light, but there are some dark spots in it, which is interesting. So we're gonna roll these up and see what comes out. Oh my gosh, I can make a second edition of the deck. I can specialize it on like relationshipy stuff. Okay, let's see. So first, I actually want to roll the d20 to see if I get that natural 20 or that natural 1. Let's see.
An 18.
I'm pretty close to 20, but it ain't a 20. Okay. So yeah, mostly good. Only 2 away from like pure 20. Okay, so we have a 6 and a 4. That's immediately heart chakra, third eye. There's a 2, which is the element of earth. Is this oh, it's 11, an 11. Okay. 11 is justice, and that's interesting because I just got a very, very interesting notification from Twitter about some justice that may be being served, looks like. Some justice that's been called for a hot minute. 2 is Taurian energy, so we got Taurian energy and earth and justice. And then 58. 58, I'll have to look that one up. But I think it's like the 2 of souls, maybe. Let's see. Oh my gosh. I don't know why his phone felt so much bigger than mine. And mine is in a case, but they're the same size. 58 is the 9 of zones, which is the 9 of air, which is interesting because the 9 of swords keeps coming up. But the 9 of swords, I feel like that's a very important energy right now because it's us beginning to consciously face the things that we were running from, ignoring, hiding from, and we can only resolve it at the 10 if we face it at the 9. If we continue to run from it with the 8, we never get there. And so the 9 of realms is interesting because it also came out yesterday, and I believe it came out right in the space where the dice are laying right now, or the day before yesterday, whenever I had all those cards up. And the titles was like All Kings Assemble, Harbingers of Peace, maybe, or something. I don't remember. And the 9 of zones, I was talking about it, like it was this element of refinement where we understand how thoughts become things, and we understand how our own mind shapes our reality and our perception of reality, or how our own mind shapes our reality through the perception of our reality. And it's about editing, refining, tweaking, working with it, resolving things to get us. It's like we're tuning into the space that we want to tune into. And then at the 10 is the resolution, is the completion, is the production. No, is the presentation, is the airing, the film, the premiere. Yeah. Okay, that took a while. The 10, or after the 10, is the premiere. And so we have that 9 of zones energy with the element of earth and justice here. And so this is us really beginning to understand. I think my brother is awake. This is really early for him to be up. It's this energy of us really beginning to understand I feel like it's more than just manifestation though. It's partly manifestation, but it's more than that. It's also it's the non-spiritual part of it. It's that how our perception and how our mindset affects the way that we view things. Because I feel like the spiritual part of it would be all about like, oh, I want to work on my thoughts, and it's very like magical and like mystical and unexplainable. But especially with this Taurian energy reconfirming that, okay, well, Taurian energy makes it more manifestation, honestly, because the Taurian energy it's well, no, it's the senses, yeah. So it's making sense. It's making these mental things make sense, and it's this mind body connection that's coming to a higher degree because we're now starting to fully understand the impact of the mind because of whatever that 8 of swords, whatever that 7, 8, 9 of swords is. We're beginning to see how our own perception or how our own desire to protect ourselves, or how when we hold fast to a certain perspective, we're starting to see how the outcome that we desire affects our perception and distorts reality. And so with this justice energy, it's about bringing it into balance, right? And I talked a few days ago about, instead of wanting to see the worst or wanting to see the best, ask to see the truth. And I feel like that's this energy. It's the mind and the body coming into harmony, but it's an increased harmony that even like increases the senses to some point without necessarily having to lose one. Hey, two twos. And 11, that's a 222, kind of. 58 is a 13. 64, or 6 and 4 is a 10. And then we have the heart and we have the third eye, which is, yeah, it's very much this. So the heart is with that 9 of swords. The third eye is over here with the physical, right? The state of our heart determines the things that we see. And it's like when you open your heart, you open up your vision. And when your vision opens up, you can navigate in the world in a way that's a lot more clear. It's a lot less cloudy. And it gives you the ability to really take control over your life. And then when your body and your mind are in harmony, it begins to form that bridge to the spirit as well, if the bridge to the spirit isn't already there, right? Probably not. It's like the bridge to spirit can be partly there, but with a mind that's that clouded and with a body that's that sort of distressed, it wouldn't be or the bridge wouldn't be as complete as it could be. I'll just say that. And also, it isn't here, but there is a need to begin to act on the things and do the things that you know that you should do. Because in some ways, it's almost like our body is ours, but since it has this like consciousness of its own, it's almost like us getting to learn, or at least it was for me as someone who was not used to listening to my body at all. It's almost like getting to know somebody else, getting to know a stranger, but it's a stranger that can't talk to you. It can only communicate in aches, pains, feelings, and the opposite of aches and pains, like feel goods. It can communicate to you in feel goods, feel bads, and in those more subtle ways. And you have to build that relationship. You have to learn to listen to it and work with it, because our bodies are so sensitive to energy that it can speak to us on things that we don't even consciously know about, right? And it's related to, that's like the communication between the body and the spirit that happens, and then your mind can connect to the body to get that message from spirit. It's like how before you even enter a situation, your gut already like starts to flip and turn, and you're like, oh, something's not right here. Or like if you start to get excited randomly, or like you just hit this random like high and you don't even know why, it's like, oh, I feel like something good is about to happen. But yeah, there's balance coming between the mind and the body, which could also be the mental plane and the physical plane. I think it's probably a little bit of both. But I mean, not everyone doesn't listen to their body, so it might be more mental and physical plane for you instead of mind and body. And then just know that the spirit is always there as well. Excuse me. I'm gonna roll these one more time. I'm so excited that these came, but I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to get 2 sets. And I think it was supposed to come with some other stuff. So I'm gonna have to check my email and see what's up. Because maybe the rest of it was emailed to me. Or maybe I got this set early. I don't know. I don't have any more little bags though, so I'm gonna have to make sure I don't lose that one. The one that I already lost. I'll find it. Okay, let's get one more. That was interesting. What else do we have for right now? So we have 3 and 5, and we just had 4 and 6. So this is the solar plexus in the throat. We have the number 4, which is fire. 18, which is the moon. 19, which is the sun. Oh, snap. And is this 7? I can't tell what number this is. 1 and number 1, which is Aries. So we have Aries, fire, the sun, the moon, the solar plexus, and the throat. This, I feel like this comes after the previous one. Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit her back in a second. I think this comes after the previous one because this one is speaking of the soul, and we just saw the mind-body connection. Now, when it comes to the space of the soul, this is us tapping into that spark and beginning to utilize it. Very child of souls, very initiate of souls energy that typically comes after the Ten of Wands or in the space of the Ten of Wands, because it's almost like the Page of Wands is the resolution to the 10. That's when we numerologically reduce the 10 to a 1 that we begin to use that we didn't have any clue what to do with at the ace. The ace is just like the field of that potential altogether. Anything could happen. But the page is us beginning to make something happen with that potential. Aries is the baby of the zodiac as well. And then we have the solar plexus and the throat, which are acting and speaking from that space of authenticity. And the fire typically sits in the belly, doesn't it? And then down here we have the sun and the moon, which is our ability to bring clarity to certain situations, not because we necessarily know what the answer is, but because we're acting in alignment with our soul, with our purpose, with our highest self. And we're following what the divine has placed within us to do. That's gorgeous. I love this. This is gorgeous. And it honestly brings like it isn't necessarily clarity, it's just a sense of, in these circumstances, in this situation, this is the me thing to do, but not the me thing to do that's a result of the trauma that I've suffered, and also not the me thing to do that's a result of the fantasy that I want to live, but it's the me thing in the now moment that gets me closer and closer and closer to the me that I know I'm destined to be. And when we operate in that space, we're always the me that we're destined to be. We're always our greatest self. It becomes something that isn't like 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. It's in the moment. And it gives me the energy again of that King of Clubs that came out with the 5 of Clubs. That Sage of Souls with that 5 of Souls, where in these moments of change and conflict, we can stand in the greater vastness of our power just by being true to ourselves, and actually true to ourselves, like on a soul level true to ourselves, not even on an essence level true to ourselves, on a soul level true to yourself. And like I said, with the mind and the body, it's like it's going to require some action to actually forge and strengthen that relationship. Here's the action: solar plexus in the throat. It's this very like breathing fire type of energy. But that's the breath. That's the sacred breath, right? They say that the soul lives on the breath. The mind is in the brain, the body is the body, the soul is on the breath. I guess the mind could actually be split between the brain and the heart. The mind is split between the brain and the heart. The body is everything else. And then the soul is on the breath. But it's a sacred breath. It's not everything that we've inhaled from the outside that overrides what we already have on the inside. It's the opposite. And I'm gonna do one more, and then I'm gonna return that call. Oh my gosh, this is Libra season. I'm loving it. Actually, I want to read the cross. I want to read the cross for Libra 1 degree. It's 110. Almost 111. Ow. Let's see. Oh, look, it's 111. There you go. I don't know who wanted to see that, but I just gave it to you. Use it. Oh, look! And the sun is at 1 degree, 10 minutes, Libra. Can y'all see that? 1 degree, 10 minutes. Maybe not. It's too close. 1 degree, 10 minutes, Libra. And I said it was 110. Look at that. Look at that. I said it's 110, and I didn't even know it was 110. Stuff is wild, y'all. I feel it ain't every day, but there'll be so many times when I'm just like, I don't know. It's like my body, my emotions, they, it's like they be looking out. They's be looking out. Ow. Oh, 1 to 2 degrees, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So Aries is a comedian entertaining a group. Cancer is a man suspended over a vast level place. Libra is the... Come on. Excuse me. Why does... Oh. I'm not even using Google Calendar right now. Goodness. I just updated my phone and apparently every single app needs permission. Again. Libra is the light of the 6th race transmuted to the 7th. Ooh, what? The light of the 6th race transmuted to the 7th. Capricorn is 3 stained glass windows, 1 damaged by bombardment. Humor, Aries, is one way to cope with adversity, to heal others experiencing the same, and to create a sense of camaraderie. Once we heal from trauma, humor is the default mechanism for viewing life and our constant fumbling around in it. Cancer symbol suggests the bigger picture and having a larger perspective. With this comes wisdom and the ability to foresee how events are likely to play out based on extensive knowledge of the past. The levelness in the symbol implies neutrality, that all things are equal. This symbol, all things are equal, and I picked the middle. Maybe it's a sign, maybe it ain't. This symbol also recalls the hanged man in tarot, where in Norse mythology, Odin hung from a tree, sacrificing himself for his soul's progress and wisdom. In The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, a man saw infinity for his punishment and went mad. While Aries pokes fun, Cancer's symbol humbles by contrasting the small human with the vast expanse. Libra's race is a metaphor for a generation, and its transmuting light is a metaphor for evolution. The experiences of the previous generation are creatively changed for the consciousness of the next generation. Wouldn't it be wonderful to have the wisdom from life's hard knocks without the depression? Yes, it would be very wonderful. An example of this might be passing on to your children the resourcefulness that comes from a low-income background without the poverty consciousness. And we got a vibe of that with the 5 of Pentacles into the King of Pentacles that came up a few days ago that I also brought up, I think, yesterday. So I want to read that part again. An example of this might be passing on to your children the resourcefulness that comes from a low-income background without the poverty consciousness. My experience of this symbol is that having seen toxicity and negativity transfer from generation to generation with my in-laws and in my own family, I am ending the generational chain of pain and making sure I protect my own children from the stuff I don't want them to inherit. Talked about that, 5 of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. I want my children to receive the best of their heritage without being weighed down with the garbage. For example, independence runs through my family. However, it has come at the price of grief, a lack of belonging, and low self worth, and acting the clown for others in an effort to be liked, Aries. I choose to teach my children independence without the pain of how my family learned it. I try to lighten up, Aries and Libra. Stained glass windows have almost exclusively belonged to significant religious buildings, and Capricorn's symbol indicates some sort of sacrilege. The current crisis of the Catholic Church best demonstrates this symbol, where the abuse allegations bombard the church and destroy the facade. Stained glass windows let the light in, but more so does an empty window frame. Oh, bringing in fresh air. Ooh. This symbol is a response to hypocrisy, or a statement that an age-old institution needs to freshen up. Libra is that freshen up energy. Libra's symbol is the key to the cross. In order to evolve as a species, we have to give up the structures we hold dear, such as religion, Capricorn, or ego, Cancer, and lighten up, Aries and Libra, by taking the wisdom from generations' experience. Oh, come on! From our generation's experiences and transcending its pain, Libra and Cancer, taking a humble view of ourselves, Aries, Cancer, Capricorn. So that was the cross and the Sabian symbols right now. I love this thing. I am such a person of context, and I've been realizing since Mars was in Pisces, really how it seems like a lot of times when at least I see people talk about astrology, we talk about these energies as separate things and not things that flow and change and evolve. It's like to understand where the energy is now, we have to better understand where the energy is now, or to understand what we're supposed to be doing in the energy now. Let's look at where the energy was and where the energy is going, right? Because it was like Mars in Pisces is, for me, that was the biggest like wake up call. A lot of people were like, oh, Mars in Pisces is like lost, and that's Mars lost in like the fantasy of Neptune and its heavy illusions, and nothing that we do is going to mean anything, because when Mars goes into Aries, we're going to see that we weren't actually doing anything. But then I discovered, and I've talked about it before, I discovered that Mars is actually the decan ruler of the third decan of Pisces, where people say the Piscean energy is the strongest. That is what leads a Pisces to achieve its dreams. Without that Martian energy there, Pisces never does anything to bring the dream into reality. And so Mars in Pisces is the ability to literally make our dreams come true. It's the Ten of Cups. It's the happily ever after. And a lot of what I was hearing was like, sit out on the happily ever after and wait until Mars goes back into Aries, where Mars just works and 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 fights and fights and fights and fights and fights and never takes a break because it's at home. And then Mars goes into Aries, Mars squares Saturn, Mars goes retrograde, and it's like in that time, I don't know, maybe people were doing stuff, but I wasn't seeing anybody like, oh my gosh, so grateful that Mars is in Aries now. Now we can do this, now we can do that. It's like the story didn't change. And if we know that Mars, and this was what I started to say at the end of it, if we know that Mars is about to go into Aries, and we know that Mars in the last 10 degrees of Pisces is the Ten of Cups, let's give Mars a vision. Let's give Mars something to fight for. Let's give Mars orders before it goes into Aries. Because if Mars doesn't have a direction, it's going to be that impetuous, I think is the word I want, child who just throws tantrums and fits and has too much energy. And you can kind of sort of see how that played out in your life. And now Mars square Saturn, people are like, oh, we're going to be so frustrated. No one's going to be able to do anything. Mars retrograde, everyone's frustrated. No one's going to be able to do anything. People are going to be mad. And it's like Mars in Pisces, Mars square Saturn, Mars retrograde. All of that is asking us to have a vision behind our actions, to have a plan, to know what we want to do. And to, when it started to get into that Capricorn square before it went retrograde, to make sure that it builds on or expands our foundation in a way that progresses us, and not just this senseless, meaningless, whatever I want to do is what I want to do, Knight of Wands type of energy. It's asking us to be kings and queens of wands and to have a little bit of foresight and responsibility with that fire, instead of being pages and knights and just going off and doing whatever we want. Now, that energy might be suppressed, especially if it doesn't serve a grander purpose, but if you're building towards something, I feel like it's going to be supported. Before Mars goes into Taurus, and Taurus being the Venusian, lush, luxurious thing that it is, that's like the Six of Wands for Mars energy. After Aries, the fight, it gets to be recognized and enjoy the fruits of its labors. It gets its paycheck or something. I don't know. It's the off time or something. I don't know. I just started looking at it more, instead of like this, and this means this individually, and that means that individually. Like if you're looking at a birth chart or a natal chart, like that's the moment you're born, sure. But when we're talking about the transits, it's like, let's understand how everything, like the movement of everything, and not just look at it here. It reminds me of, I can't remember. I think it was in chemistry, but there's a way to, what was it? There are these two frames of reference. One of them is Lagrangian. Anyway, like if there's things moving, floating down a river, right? There's these two, let's say that this is something floating down the river. And let's say that this is our point of reference. There's two ways to look at it, right? Either this can be our point of reference and it can be stationary, and we can look at everything flowing down the river, and we can say, okay, so we see something pass by 5 times in a second. So you say that's 5 per second, right? Or you can have the frame of reference move with it, and that's a different way. And then it's like, maybe we can see how long it takes from one particle to transit through the whole area, instead of how many particles transit through this area. And there's something, I can't remember completely, but it just reminded me of that, or how our frame of reference, whether it's stationary or transient, and how that affects what we observe. I don't know. All right, last one. I'm really glad I got these. Oof. Hey, here's the bag. I found it. Last message. These have been pretty interesting. Really deep. So we have the 8, which is the double crown, or that's transmitting from the crown. We have the 5, which is the throat. We have 18. No, this is 10, which is Capricorn. 83, which is this 83? Yeah, it's 83. 83. Oh, goodness. There it is. I have to look that one up. I can't remember. Come on. There we go. 83. We have 2, which is Earth again. And over here is number 4, which is the Emperor, which is interesting. Let's see what 83 is. 83, if I had to guess, I would say Scorpio, but I'm not sure. So I'll just look and see. Oh, 83 is Virgo. Virgo. We just came out of Virgo season, right? And I was talking about how in Virgo season we had an opportunity to tie up loose ends before we come into the justice of Libra season. To purify, cleanse, renew, rejuvenate, rebirth ourselves, to be rebaptized. It was like an opportunity to close out nearly closed cycles, or if you're extremely bold or adventurous, to close out any cycle, and to resolve it to the point that when justice comes and when the scales balance, it's an opportunity to lighten the load before we came into Libra season. That's what I was feeling Virgo season as. And that's why I posted like so many of those. Let's see what the limitation is today on my Legacy channel. And there's a playlist of like 14 of the videos from Virgo season. I believe it was like the first 3 to 5 days and then the last like 7 maybe. I know that math doesn't add up, so there were a few in there in between. So there's Virgo, the double crown, the throat, Capricorn, the Emperor, and Earth. I think I'm going to put Virgo and the Emperor together. And I'm going to put Virgo and the Emperor together because that was an ability or a time period for us to come into an Emperor energy that's more King of Cups, Scorpio, and it was more King of Cups, King of Wands. I feel Emperor energy. More Scorpio, like Leo, Emperor energy. With a little bit of Aquarius, I think the Aquarius is going to come now, as evidenced by the beginnings of the mind and the body starting to work together. It's almost like all of our deep-rooted emotions, the things that run beneath the surface and the person, the way that we shine our light, that's what Virgo season gave us the opportunity to address. And it's the part of the Emperor who basically like has to clean up a mess that he's made, who has to take responsibility for a decision that he made that didn't necessarily pan out the way that he thought. He made this decision thinking that it would be beneficial for everyone, but there was something that he didn't take into consideration, and instead of running from it and blaming someone else, he's owning up to it. And the fact that the Emperor owns up to his mistakes makes his empire value, appreciate, treasure him more. It's like his humility and his willingness to correct for something without blaming somebody else. His willingness to take accountability and responsibility is one of the things that his empire adores him for, because it puts them in a space of knowing that not only is he acting in their best interest, but he's also willing to improve. He's willing to listen. He's willing to grow and mature, right? And that was the thing about Libra 1 to 2, going from generation to generation, transmuting the light from the 6th generation to the 7th. That is that Libra first degree, or between the first and second degree of Libra energy. It's us transmuting that and becoming lighter by facing it, not by blaming somebody else. Because all that does is like, it adds another wand to your back that you're going to have to take care of later. Puts another sword in you that you're going to have to take care of later. And if you never reach the point where you realize that that's a wand that you put on your back, or that's a sword that you put in your back, it will forever be stuck there. And so it's like that season gave us an opportunity to own up to our own shortcomings and to rebalance our emotional space and our egoic space, and to make both of those lighter. Because now we have the throat and the higher crown. And I feel like the crown, by default, how we look at it, is a receptive chakra, but the higher crown, or the double crown, is an expressive one. So now not only do you put it out into the world like verbally in the space of mental, but you also put it out into the world spiritually. This is an ability, an increased ability to attract into your experience with this Capricorn energy. It's an increased ability to attract into your experience and to build the experience that you want. And the earth is this stability that starts in the inside that works its way outside. And because there is an Emperor energy here, especially coming after everything that we've already talked about, being true to yourself with the soul and having this mind body connection where you realize that a distorted mind gives a distorted reality. And also with this energy, this pre-justice energy, excuse me, it's more important to have a clearer picture with that Virgo energy than whatever distorted, overinflated vision that would have resulted after Leo if Virgo wasn't there to clean it up. It's like Leo overly inflates us, and then Virgo grounds us. And after that grounding, there's an opportunity to know your worth without overly inflating it, where you can stand in your worth and not necessarily be egoic, where you just know. It's like, no, this is tried and tested and true. We've done several experiments, run several tests, and it comes out the same every time. This is not baseless ego. This is who I am. Right? So it isn't necessarily to knock you off your block. It could be there if you needed to, but it could also be there to help you understand why you're on that pedestal, why you're on that block, why you are above the conflict in the first place. And again, the emperor, if a king can't fight every single person who challenges the throne, do you think an emperor has time? But it's very much this like control over the self equals control over the environment type energy. But it's not controlling because it resonates from the truth of who you are. This control over the self is just it's a recognition of why and how you got to where you are, and it's an opportunity with that Virgo energy to clean it up and to evolve and transmute that into something lighter if you desire. But a lot of us, we just end up perpetrating and passing on and keeping the karmic ball rolling instead of stopping it and being like, you know what? I don't want this to repeat. And to ensure that it doesn't repeat, I am going to give this a thorough look through my situation and my own actions. And I will take accountability and responsibility for anything that I've done to further perpetrate this out into the world. And I'll do what I can to clean it up and make sure that I don't pass this on. Because when we just blame other people, when we only look outside, when we don't look at our own actions, we never see that we actually do the same thing that was done to us. And that's how people become their parents, but they don't realize it until they've done something that they promised they would never do. And then by that point, they feel like it's too late. They've already become their parents. They start to hate themselves or shame themselves or blame themselves even more. And it's sort of like it puts them in this deeper pit that makes it feel like it's harder for them to be redeemed. But the past is the past. We only correct for it moving forward into the future. So, wow, that went there, I guess. So that's what I got. I hope y'all have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope y'all are acting in alignment to make the good better, the better great, the great fantastic, and the fantastic miraculous. I hope you begin to take advantage of the opportunities that come your way, even when it comes through the space of hardship. Right? Because, I mean, we're only like 1 degree into Libra, but second day of Libra season, and that just came out. So this might be a Libra season to remember. If it keeps up like this, it's only the second day. We only in the 1st degree of Libra season, and they already throwing out indictments. Okay. All right, well, I'll catch y'all later. I hope y'all have a good whatever, whenever, and everything that I already said. Bye.